Welcome everybody, it's Unstoppable Stoletzi here with another Age of Empires 3 Definitive Edition casted match between Revnak and Hazza. Before we get started, let's check out the map real quick and see what it has in store for us here. So the map is Mongolia. It's a very wide open map, leaves you constantly vulnerable to raids from cavalry. Also, there's a really good trade route up here at the top that particularly I think is going to be really good for the French to get as part of their build order. And natives, yep, you got the Shaolin, basically a hand cavalry. And then you got the Tengri cav archers here, which will be great as anti-cavalry for you. So fighting hussars. Let's get started right now and check the match out pretty much. So French. French, basically a well-rounded civ. They really can do a number of things, you know. They can go fast fortress, all-in age 2 push, fast industrial, their Napoleonic era revolt, even native gameplay. There's a lot of stuff that the French civ can do. And their villages here, the CBDs, a little bit more expensive, but they are stronger, right? They can fight in range combat reasonably well, and they're also better gatherers too. So very good, well-rounded economy for the French. French getting the market right off the bat for hunting dogs. This is such a good move usually because it means that the CBDs are going to get a huge boost in their food gather rate because, as I said before, the base gather rate for the coureur de bois is higher than that of a settler, thus hunting dogs will have an even better effect on them than they would a normal settler, making it a much better value to invest in early. Also, we see the French explorer going for the trading post up here. The general build order for the French has them going for a trading post all the time. It really helps them with their timing of their shipments really well, so they can get that good fast fortress timing. Or if they want to go rush, they can get their crates and units on time as well. And on the other side, we have the Ethiopians. The Ethiopians are a little bit different. The Ethiopians have a pretty colorful roster of unique units that they can use, as well as some really good age-up alliances that they can rely on, such as the Portuguese, and a few other ones that are pretty notable, like the Indian elephants and the Arab Gatlin camels. I think this game will probably see some sort of H2 combat from the Ethiopians, personally. It seems to benefit them pretty well. You know, they go for a big push with the Gascania Cannoneers, back them up with some Showtails to fight the skirms, and you got yourself a really good combination. One cool part about African civs in general is they get this really cool building here called the granary. It not only lures animals towards the thing so you don't have to hurt as much, but it also improves the gather rate of your villas around it while they're hunting, so you're going to get a much better gather rate on your food with them. Right, and we just saw a card come in called the Trinity from the Ethiopians. This is their deck in general. As you can see, it's very oriented towards 1v1. You got some military cards, some crates. You also have a palace here too. They'll be good for defense as well as send up more military that you can make. So yeah, overall this is going to be a very tight deck here for fighting. And then on the other side of the aisle, what do we have with the French? So on the French side, we have what looks to be natives. Yeah, Nats, even says in the deck. Probably what we're going to see as a start here is the ancien regime. This allows you to make the French House of Bourbon units from your native embassy. And that'll essentially allow you to make Royal Musketeers with the powerful charge attack, as well as the Royal Dragoons as well. So I think that's what we're going to be seeing here. Yep, that's exactly what we're seeing right now. The ancien regime is coming right now. Expect a Royal Musketeer push by Revnak here. And I wouldn't be surprised either if he picks up some of the Tengri and Shaolin sites on this map too and adds that in to basically round out his army a bit, right? The Tengri will obviously give him some good Dragoon type units, and the Shaolin of course will give him sort of like a Coyote Runner level hand cav that he can use to plow at the enemy with. Where's the embassy going to go? It looks like it's going to go into a forward position towards the Ethiopian's base. And what is Ethiopia aging up as? He's going with the Hasheba? The Habesha. I don't know much Ethiopian, so you're going to have to apologize for me with that one. But from the looks of it, this is indeed going to be a very powerful push. And we do see these steel traps coming in right now. Good timing there for the French to get that. As I said before, the base rate on the CBDs is much better than that of other villagers, so you can imagine a tech like steel traps is going to make the CBDs monstrous food gatherers, and they definitely does. As soon as this thing is done, expect, Royal Musketeers coming out right now. This is going to be the backbone unit of this army, it looks like. Main thing about the Royal Muskets, the better you are with microing them, the better you're going to be with them. Basically, they get this charged pistol attack where their pistol attack does like 40-something damage, which is huge in Age 2. And that allows them to get a real leg up on their enemies in combat. And outside of that, they're your everyday musketeers, so they can fight cavalry in hand, and then they have their range attack to fight infantry with. So it's a very good, flexible unit that you can use all on its own, pretty much, right? And definitely Vils need to watch out, because if these Vils get caught by these guys, they could get one shot really easily. Yeah, look at that right there. Practically almost destroyed that Vil in one go. Unfortunately, though, doesn't have a big enough mass yet to really do a lot. Allowing Ethiopia to soar a turtle there a bit. Yep. This is the Abund Priest. It's not an ordinary priest for Ethiopia. It can actually gather from the mountain monasteries for you, so it's a nice little thing to have. And whoa. We got some Gasconians here trying to engage in combat with the Pistoliers. Unfortunately, the targeting of the Pistoliers only targeted one unit, so they weren't really able to max out their full potential with the charge attack, I feel like. It's okay, though, you know, this is early game, you know, the micro doesn't matter too much, but I think once the armies get a little bit bigger, you're going to want to make sure that you're sort of microing your mouse or mouse pad a little bit to target 2 or 3 units with the charge attack, if for the most results. But assuming that this is Revnak, very skilled players, doing it this way, probably not the most important priority. It's just something I like to do when I use my mouse pad is try to target 2 or 3 units with the charge attack, because then you basically get a huge map field advantage on the battlefield. Yeah, so. Looks like, though, the Royal Muskets are winning here considerably. Looks like will be driven out, though, unfortunately, but did a good amount of damage, I would say. This one's practically gone, and then this one is the last real remaining one, I would say. More Royal Muskets coming in. Also, the shipment of 8 crossbowmen, too. They'll add a skirmisher in, and definitely those crossbowmen will be a great add-on to deal with the Gasconians, since they're heavy infantry. Right? And what is... oh, wow, shipping in the Cannoneers. This could be a problem. This could be a real problem. Cannoneers are a Portuguese mercenary that are essentially Abyss gunners, right? What are Abyss gunners? If you played Ottomans, you know that Abyss gunners are a H2 skirmisher that deals crush damage and has multipliers against heavy infantry, right? So just imagine an army of Royal Musketeers with the heavy inf tag getting completely plowed by those Cannoneers and their crush damage, plus the multipliers. So that's gonna be pretty serious. And of course, even the crossbowmen that he's shipping in, the French, they're gonna suffer too, because these Cannoneers are gonna eat right through their pierce armor. So that's gonna be really bad for him, pretty much. Yep, we see the crossbowmen coming over here onto the side. I would keep the crossbowmen away from these Cannoneers if you can, because you don't have a barracks right now, and this is probably your most valuable unit that's sort of preserved right now. So since you can technically just keep training Royal Muskets right now, but you really can't make crossbowmen without pivoting your macro a bit. Crossbowmen do take out a Gasconia, though. They do take out another one, it looks like. Or almost. They've got 2 of these guys peppered pretty well here. More Royal Muskets coming in the back. They should be able to finish this one off next. Yeah, it looks like the Gasconians are being completely cooked. They do take out a Vil. Good for you. That's going to hurt the Ethiopian score a bit. That's awesome. Oh, get the Abun. Good. Very good move. That means that this monster is going to be gathered from slower now, which is going to reduce the Ethiopia's player's coin and influence a bit, which is great. all things considered. Shipping in Gascunya, shipping 2 to boost up his numbers a bit, and maybe go for a bit of a counterattack now. As long as the Ethiopia can hold on to all 7 of those Cannoneers, there's really nothing that the French player can do at this exact moment to maintain a battle with them, because the Cannoneer basically melts everything that's on the field right now. The only way you're dealing with Cannoneers is probably either Hussars or maybe even Falconets in H3. That's the only thing I could think of that you could do for that. And wow, what a bold move. 2 Abuns are building another monastery up at the middle mine here, likely to gather even more coin and influence from it. Basically, with the monastery, it has different modes on it, so you can choose to get all coin practically, or you can choose to go for a bigger distribution of influence, which will essentially allow you to, get special units from your palace or ship special units from your home city, like the Cannoneers. Yeah, basically Ethiopia needed influence to actually make those Cannoneers, so that's why I was able to afford that pretty much. And, we got the Shotel Warriors now. These powerful hand infantry you remember from Age 2, Age of Empires 2 that is. In this game, they sort of act as a cavalry, with the slight multiplier against the skirmisher class, the light infantry here. So basically now we're dealing with a army of skirmishers, muskets, and hand cavalry from the Ethiopia. So I don't know what Revnak's going to do, but he's going to have to come up with something now. He's not quite in Age 3 yet, so he can't just ship in dragoons and skirms and stuff, unfortunately. So he's going to have to come up with some sort of game plan. Thankfully, he does have his embassy here, so he will be able to at least make some royal muskets. Unfortunately, this Tengri site is going to be pushed on now, looks like. He does have a Shaolin site, though, so he might be able to do some rattan shields to deal with the Cannoneers. That would be your best bet right now. Get the rattan shields on top of the Cannoneers and deal with that. And then it's just dealing with the Gascunyas again, really. And since you got royal muskets, it's not like the Shotels are going to be able to beat that at all. Yep, looks like over here the Gascunyas are going in first, followed by Cannoneers and Shotel Warriors. At this point, you want to mass up your royal muskets a bit and prepare a really nice charge attack volley on them to try to do as much as you can to deal with that. CBDs being forced into retreat. Now, this is the other aspect of CBDs or Courier de Bois that you're going to want to know about. They can actually engage in some decent ranged combat. It's because they have a decent range attack, good HP, and 40% pierce armor. 40% pierce armor, as you can see here, 40%. That's pretty huge. They're basically almost tanking almost half of all range damage, which is pretty huge. It allows them to fight things like muskets and skirms in some scenarios. And that's why you notice that the CBDs there didn't necessarily high in the town center, They just sort of stayed off there to the side and could have came in at any time to sort of help clean up the stuff, pretty much. Right, so now we see these Shaolin rattan shields here going in again, probably for some sort of raid. Yep, definitely look for these mountain monasteries. This would be a great place to look for Abuns or villagers to start raiding. Otherwise, going forward with your Royal Musketeers will put a little bit of pressure on the Ethiopia player. Now that that was a successful fight, definitely take the fight to your enemy. You know what I mean? You know that your opponent has very little army at this point, so the best thing you can do with your Royal Muskets, take advantage of the smaller numbers of infantry on the field, get your charge attack into them, and then you basically domineer him once again and really prevent him from growing a big army again. He doesn't have another Cannoneer shipment, so no big wild card to sort of save the day anymore, right? Yeah. Looks like rattan shields are pressing on the Abun Priest right now, and they're going to attack all these vills. Look at this vulnerable hunt here. Unbelievable, man. Insane. Probably with all that fighting, Hazza wasn't able to really focus on his herding that well, and thus wasn't able to set up a close granary that he could have watched a bit better there. So that's unfortunate. Yeah, he's basically going to get completely swamped with his score there because of that. What's the Vil difference right now? See, Hazza's down to 20 Vils. 20 Vils. He could potentially lose these ones, too. He's going to, almost below Age 1 levels of villagers, and this is, really devastating. He's going to have to come up with some sort of really big defensive plan to at least keep his economy alive. Yeah, he's losing even more vills, whilst Revnak is growing. 15 vills. 15 vills. That's around the vills that you have when you're aging up from age 1 to age 2. That is absolutely horrifying. Yeah. But he is in the Fortress Age, though, so he can get some good shipments, right? He is shipping in the Neftanya skirmishers. That will give him a pretty nice advantage against these Royal Muskets, I would say, since they are a skirmisher. And he's probably going to want to keep his 20 range on them as much as possible to try to pick these guys off. Yep, as long as these Neftanya survive, I think you'll have some sort of defense that you can do. One priest also getting involved is sort of like a meat shield. Distracting the target. Yep, looks like that was a good successful defend there. And what is Revnak up to now? Is he going to go to age 3? What's his game plan? What is his strategy at this point? We do see the palace being shipped in as well from a kingdom builder pretty much. And where is that palace going to go? It's going to go up here. Is that right? Yep, this will be a good defensive place for Hazza. And after the trauma of losing so many vills, I can't blame him for putting a defensive structure. Oh no, that's a TC. I thought for some reason it was like a palace of it. No, that's a TC. No, TC is there. Oh wow. Yep. And Tanya's, Gaskanya's there. I'm trying to figure out what Revnak's next step is going to be, honestly. Oh, he's going Fortress Age 2 with the Exiled Prince. How close is he to getting a shipment, though? That's going to be very important. I think at this point, probably the thing that you're going to want to get is probably 2 Falcons. Or at least 8 skirmishers to try to fight back against the ones Ethiopia has. That would be my guess. Because, yeah, he seems to have the pretty well-rounded French Fortress Age setup here. Either the 8 skirms, the 2 Falcons, the 5 goons, or the 3 cuirassiers. So, depending on what he needs, he can basically set up for whatever, yeah. And it looks like also getting rattan shields. That'll be good for any... yeah, the rattan shields could actually be used against those Neftanyas, so that's a really good decision by Revnak there. And keep in mind, too, that these Gaskanyas are up to veteran upgrade now, so they are a bit tougher than they were before. Yeah, don't engage in a fight with the Rattans alone, otherwise they'll just pick you off a lot easier there. Doesn't help that the Explorer is snaring you, too, but it looks like he's going to let him walk almost. Yeah, just get out. Oh no, he's pressing on the Shaolin side right now, which is unfortunate. Yep. Okay, looks like Rattans are trying to connect onto the Vills and Skirms, and Royal Muskets following in tow right behind. Some Royal Dragoons are being trained out of the embassy right now, so a bit of anti-cav in there too, which is really cool. And then, as it predicted, we are going to see the 2 Falconettes be developed as well. From the home city, that is. I think in general, once the Falcons arrive, you're going to see a huge surge here by Revnak. Seems like the Royal Muskets and Rattans, though, on their own, seem to be holding the line pretty good. All things considered. Oh, yeah. Here comes those Royal Dragoons right now to sort of add to the mix. Nah. This is a total turnaround by Revnak. Impressive. GG. Yep, he called GG. This was a good match. This was a really fair match, I feel like, where everybody had a chance of actually winning. There were certain parts where I feel like Hazza was going to win, particularly with those Cannoneers. And he seemed to be, like, dominating the map control and everything. Especially putting that town center. Like, I thought when he had this TC up that he was going to, like, get his complete... He was going to get complete protection of his side of the map and start booming like crazy. But things do happen, you know, especially in 1v1. In terms of resources, looks like Revnak did get the better resource count due to having CBD villagers and keeping up with his market techs so well. And then in terms of military, better kills. That's clearly due. Looks like it's due to bigger numbers because he was just making more natives, but also due to the fact that the charge attacks on those Royal Musketeers were doing wonders for him in certain battles. You saw that constantly. Saw that like across the board. Also some big raids too. Yep. Either way, that was a really cool match. Got a lot more casted games to do with you. Some from HVNI, some from Breaking Me, and some from other people. So definitely look forward to those going forward. Sign off now from this one. See you in the next one.